Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going on a bit of a treasure hunt, but we aren't looking for gold or ancient artifacts or, hidden civilizations. Instead, we are trying to track down a fugitive that, by its very definition, isn't even there. We are searching for true nothingness. I know, it sounds like a riddle, right? How exactly do we track down something when the whole point is that it's literally not a thing? Well, let's start the search together and see what we can find.
First things first, what does nothing actually look like? Go ahead, take a second and really try to picture it in your mind. I'm guessing a lot of you are probably just picturing a totally black screen. But here's the thing, even a black screen isn't nothing. If you're looking at a monitor right now, that blackness is literally just a bunch of tiny little LED lights switched off. It's a physical object in a physical room, existing in a physical state. That is definitively something. So if it doesn't look like a black screen, what are we actually looking for?
Okay, let's dive into this by running a quick little experiment. Imagine you have a completely empty cardboard box. You tape it shut, look inside, and claim, yes, I have finally captured nothing. Except, the reality is that your seemingly empty box is overflowing. It is full to the absolute brim. What's in it? Well, you've got oxygen, nitrogen, floating dead skin cells, hair from the dog, hair from the cat, a little bit of argon, and just a pinch of carbon dioxide. So a box is definitely not empty. It's packed.
Before we get too far off track, let's pin down exactly what we are searching for. Whenever we need a rock-solid definition, we go to our old reliable friend, Wikipedia. The source material for today playfully points out that Wikipedia is always looking out for us, kind of like McDonald's or the government. Here is the strict definition we're working with today. No thing, or no, a complete absence of anything, the opposite of something, and an antithesis of everything. That means nothing is a total, absolute state of non-existence, period. The whole shebang of zero.
But wait a second. If there are so many things that do exist in our reality, there must be infinite things that don't exist, right? Take a concept like, say, a vacuum made of pickles. Now, to my knowledge, that doesn't exist anywhere in the physical universe. So did we just find nothing? Well, no, because a vacuum made of pickles is still a concept. You are actively conceiving of it in your mind. And an idea is, undeniably, something.
So let's turn the search inward, right into your own head. You might try to picture a black void, but as we just established, that void is a conceptual something. Okay, what if you try to stop thinking entirely? I know some people seem naturally gifted at not thinking, but biologically speaking, your brain is still firing, it's still functioning. What if you just lose awareness of your thoughts? Even then, you are still fundamentally having them. You just aren't actively registering them. True nothingness simply cannot exist inside your mind.
Okay, so if it's not inside a cardboard box, and it's definitely not inside our heads, where else could this fugitive be hiding? Let's take our treasure hunt outwards. The most obvious place to look is the vast, dark, seemingly empty void of outer space. If there is true nothingness anywhere, surely it is floating out there between the stars, right? And this brilliantly illustrates the problem with trying to find a true void anywhere in the physical world. When we look at macrospace, the cosmos, you might think it's empty, but it's basically a messy vacuum totally packed with electromagnetic radiation, cosmic rays, magnetic fields, and a ton of space dust. So we can't zoom out to find nothing. But what if we zoom all the way into microspace? Inside atoms, inside the protons and neutrons, you have tiny particles called quarks. And in the space between those quarks? Aha, gotcha. It's completely filled with gluons. That's the fundamental force holding the quarks together. The biggest spaces and the smallest spaces are all absolutely crammed with stuff.
So let's push this search to the absolute extreme limit. We know the observable universe is expanding, right? We can see about 46 billion light years away with today's technology. That's a mind-boggling distance. But what about the part it is expanding into? You can't have something expand into a place where something has never been without confronting the idea of what was already there to begin with.
One totally mind-bending theory is that our universe is embedded in a higher dimension. Think of it like this. Imagine an old 2D cartoon animation. Now imagine that 2D animation is playing out while floating in the middle of a 3D bathroom. We, as beings trapped in the animation, can't fully comprehend that higher dimensional bathroom. But if the theory holds true, whatever is outside our universe is still a space. It is definitively not nothing.
Wow. So we have looked at boxes, brains, atoms, outer space, and even the very edge of the universe. We still haven't found our fugitive yet. But what if I told you that you might have already experienced nothing intimately?
Let's pivot our investigation away from physical space for a minute and take a look at the timeline of your own consciousness.
Think about the timeline of your own existence. The middle part is easy, life. You are experiencing something right now. But what about before birth? According to a purely physical perspective, before you were born, you didn't exist. You saw nothing, tasted nothing, thought nothing, heard nothing. You were, by definition, nothing. Now, the source notes a crucial caveat here. Depending on your religious beliefs, you might believe you existed in heaven before birth, or that you will go to an afterlife after death. If that is your belief, you've never experienced nothing. But from a strict biological standpoint, the period before your conception is the absolute closest we get to a true void.
And here is the grand twist of our whole detective hunt. Actual nothing could never exist. You see, the idea of nothing exists in our vocabulary, sure. But if actual nothing were to materialize, it would be an impossible paradox. If a state of true nothingness entered our reality, everything in existence would essentially have to stop existing to make room for it. It would literally have to swallow the universe.
So the crucial point is that matter fundamentally cannot be created or destroyed. This isn't just a sudden rule from a textbook, it's a profound realization about the very fabric of our reality. Because the matter and energy that make up our universe can only change forms, they can never be truly deleted into absolute zero. Therefore, true nothingness has never existed, will never exist, and could never exist anywhere at any time.
Which brings us to our final stop today. If true, actual nothing can never exist in reality, then what exactly is nothing? Is it just a placeholder word, a mathematical concept, some kind of ghost that haunts our language? I want to leave your mind spinning with that curiosity today. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible search through the explainer. I hope these findings helped illuminate the dark, and I'll catch you next time as we unravel another fascinating mystery.